Hello class, we're about to start section 9.1, measuring length, the metric system. Objectives. We will use dimensional analysis to change units of measurement. Understand and use metric prefixes, convert units within the metric system, and use dimensional analysis to change to and from the metric system. Length. Every measurement needs to have a number and a unit of measure. Stating that something has a length of 3 is meaningless. It could be 3 feet, 3 meters, 3 light years, 3 rods, etc. Linear units of measure, the English system. The linear units of measure in the English system are 12 inches is a foot, 3 feet is equal to 1 yard, 36 inches is 1 yard, 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. A Roman mile was 1,000 paces or 5,000 feet. Measurements can be changed from one unit to another by multiplying by unit fractions. Unit fractions contain different units and the value of the unit is 1. Given these equivalents, we can create unit fractions that contain different units and have a value equal to 1. 12 inches equals 1 foot, 3 feet equals 1 yard, 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. Here are some unit fractions. 12 inches and 1 foot are equal, so if you divide them, that equals 1. 1 foot over 12 inches, they're equivalent, that equals 1. 3 feet over 1 yard is 1, and so on. Now, dimensional analysis. To convert a measurement to a different unit, multiply by the unit fraction or by unit fractions. The given unit of measurement should appear in the denominator of the unit fraction, so that this unit cancels upon multiplication. The unit measurement that needs to be introduced should appear in the numerator of the fraction, so that this unit will be retained upon multiplication. Now we have this example, convert 3 miles to inches. To do this, we multiply by unit fractions and reduce the units. Now we would start off with 3 miles, which we would put over 1. Now we want to go from miles to feet and feet to inches. So since we want to go from miles to feet, we would take 5,280 feet over 1 mile. That would get rid of our miles. And then to go from feet to inches is 12 inches and 1 foot. Now we can cross simplify miles with miles, feet with foot. Now, when we get rid of all of these different units of measure, we're only left with inches. So now we multiply 3 times 5,280 times 12, and that will give us 190,080 inches. So the miles and feet will reduce, leaving inches as the unit of measure. Now, convert 3 inches to miles. To do this, we multiply by unit fractions and reduce the units. So we start off with inches, but we want to end up at miles. So we'll go from inches to feet. It's 12 inches and 1 foot. And then we will go from feet to miles. It's 5,280 feet and 1 mile. So if you notice, inches simplify with inches, foot with feet here, and we multiply straight across. This will give us 3 over 5,280 times 12. You can put that in your calculator. And once you're finished, this is the final answer here. Now, the inches and feet will reduce, leaving miles as a unit of measure, which we already discussed. Now we want to convert 4,400 yards to miles. To do this, we multiply by unit fractions and reduce the units. So we go from yards to feet and feet to miles. So now we have our yards, 4,400 yards, and it's 3 feet and 1 yard, and it's 1 mile and 5,280 feet. And we cross simplify. And we're left with, after we multiply 4,400 times 3, and then divide that by 5,280, we will be left with 2.5 miles. Now we want to convert this, 40 inches to miles. So let's do this. We have 40 inches. We don't have to spell out the whole word. We can use the abbreviation. We'll put it over 1. Now we multiply. Now remember, we typically go from inches to feet, feet to yards, and then yards. Well, inches to feet, and then feet to miles. So now, this is what we would do. We want to change these inches to feet. Now we know it's 12 inches. We put this in the denominator because we want the inches to simplify out in 1 foot. So now we simplify out, these inches simplify out, and we will have 40 feet all over 12. Now we know 40 and 12 we can simplify. 40 and 12 both has 4 in common, so that we could divide both by 4. So this will leave us 10 over 3 feet. Now, if we want to write this as a decimal, it would give us this value that we get after we type it in the calculator. 10 divided by 3 gives us this decimal here. So it's approximately 3.3 repeating decimal feet. So now, we come down here to B. We want to go from feet to miles. So we add 13,200 feet. Put that over 1. And remember, it's 5,280 feet and 1 mile. Now we can simplify out the feet. So we will have 13,200 all over 5,280. And that's miles. Now we can put this in the calculator. We could type in 13,200 divided by 5,280. And that would give us 2.5. So it would be 2.5 miles. Now, we scroll down here. We want to go from inches to yards. So we add 9 inches over 1. We will multiply. Now we would change inches to feet. It's 12 inches in 1 foot. Then we would change feet to yards. It takes 3 feet to equal 1 yard. So now we simplify out inches and feet. And when we multiply, we will have 9 over 1 times 12 times 3 is 36. And this is yards. Now 9 and 36, they both have 9 in common. So we divide both by 9. And that will give us 1/4 yard. Now 1/4, when we convert that to a decimal, is 0.25. And it's yards. And we're done. Okay, now we scroll on here to length and the metric system. It says the metric system is used in most industrialized countries. The metric system is based on powers of 10. In the metric system, prefixes contained in I, deci, centi, milli are all fractional parts of 1 unit. The prefixes kilo, centi, milli are used more frequently than hectare, deca, and deci. Now, if you notice here, we have these set up here. Now, it says the basic unit for linear measure in the metric system is the meter. So, if you look here, for meter, if you notice, if you look at these 6 units of measure here, you notice each one has 1 letter, except for it's only 2 of them that don't have 1 letter before the M here. And that's this deca. Deca is DA. And meter is all by itself. It's just the M. So all of them have the prefixes in front of them as 1 except for decameter. And meter itself just has meter. So now it says here, the little marks at the top of the ruler are 1 millimeter apart. The units marked at the top are centimeters. 10 millimeters make 1 centimeter. Our book tells us that there are exactly 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So we have a couple of these measures here. 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. 1 meter is approximately 39 inches. 30.48 centimeters is equal to 1 foot. And 1 kilometer is approximately 0.6 miles. Now, we want to change units within the metric system. So, this is how we would do it. We would have to change from larger units to smaller units involves multiplying by 10. To change from smaller units to larger units involves dividing by 10. Metric units for length from largest to smallest. multiply by 10 for each step to the right. So each step to the right, we'll multiply by 10. Each step to the left, we will divide by 10. Okay, you must remember that when you're solving these metric type problems, because if you don't, this can end up causing you problems later. Okay, now, it says the following lengths and approximations will help to give you a feel for metric units of linear measure. Now, this right here, you can read this at your leisure. So now we're going to scroll down here. It says change the units within the metric system. Use the following chart to find equivalent measures of length. Now, again, we multiply by 10 or divide by 10. It says to change from a larger unit to a smaller unit, moving to the right in the diagram. Multiply by 10 for each step to the right. Thus move the decimal point in the given quantity one place to the right for each smaller unit until the desired unit is reached. To change from a smaller unit to a larger unit, moving to the left in the diagram, divide by 10 for each step to the left. Thus move the decimal point in the given quantity one place to the left for each larger unit until the desired unit is reached. So, let's scroll to this next page. It says convert 327.8 meters to kilometers. First of all, we know we're going from the smaller unit to the larger unit because kilometers are larger than meters. It says think about the metric units. A meter is a smaller unit than a kilometer. So to change from a smaller unit to a larger unit, we need to divide by 10 for each move to the left, or just move the decimal to the left. Kilometers are 3 steps to the left of meters. So we need to move the decimal 3 places to the left. So, convert 327.8 meters to kilometers. We'll start here in meters. And if you notice, we move 3 places to the left to get to kilometers. That's all you would need to do with this number here. So we could do 327.8 meters. We need to move it 3 places to the left. And that will give us 0.3278 kilometers. And that right there is the final answer. Now right here it shows, since you move 3 places to the left, you divide by 10 to the third power. And that will give you the same amount. Or you could just move the decimal that many places to the left. It will give you the same exact answer. Now it says here we want to convert 21.7 decameters to centimeters. So we come down here, decameters, we'll go 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So what we could do here is this. Now we want to change this decameters to centimeters. So we would take 21.7 and move it 3 places to the right. So it'll give us 21,700 centimeters. And that will be your final answer. Now down here it shows the multiplication. Since you move 3 places to the right, you will multiply this initial value by 10 to the third power, and it will give you the same amount. Put centimeters here. Now we want to go down here. It says convert 483.2 hectometers to millimeters. So we have 483.2 hectometers, and we want to go to millimeters. Okay, now I took the liberty of putting this chart down here. So we have hectometers. Now hectometers is here, and we want to go to millimeters. So we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the right. So we could take this 483.2, and we need to move it 5 places to the right. And so our final answer would be 4832, and we would have 4 zeros. And this would be millimeters. So this will end up being 48,320,000 millimeters. Now we can use this same chart down here. We want to change 504.7 meters to kilometers. Now to go from meters to kilometers, we'll go to the left 1, 2, 3 places. So we need to move this decimal 3 places to the left, and it'll give us 0.50.